Hi everybody, this has been a long recording session, bro. I was like I said, today we're gonna only record on YouTube, no video games, no nothing. I got all my lifting done, so we're all good to go. Anyways, not about my personal life, it's about MMA today. Let's lock in here, buddy. Top 5 UFC middleweights of all time. The Kyle Persian photo is there because Fight Matrix is the top 5 all time, which I don't know enough about him, but that just genuinely seems absurd. But it's not a lot of resume stuff. Anyways, number 5. I know it's a hot take, but ultimately, you can have your opinion. I can have my opinion. That's the joy of it all, and it is my list. So I'm gonna talk about my things. If you disagree with me, put it in the comments. Maybe you'll convince me and change it. You won't change the video. Maybe you'll change my opinion. Who knows? Anyways, I know we like to make jokes that this guy just throws slop overhands and stuff, but he is good. He has moments. He has pockets. Don't believe me? Go watch Octagon Oracle's breakdown. Videos like DDP knows something we don't. He has these very quick flashes of just technical boxing. It's very strange. Good wrestler. It's slick. Whether he's gassed out, energized, he always finds a way to get a takedown. It's super weird. He's an enforcer, man. Just big, physical guy. That's really what he does. He just imposes his will on people. It's tough to beat right now. Current champion, won title defense. Fourth longest win streak in middleweight, 8 wins. That's basically, his entire record. So, fifth in title fights already, which is crazy. 2 wins, very solid resume. I'll get into that later on, though. 2 losses, 1 avenged, but it was like, kind of, he beat the guy and then he lost to the guy. So, does it really count because the trilogy's 1-1? I don't know. That'd be recency bias to put him here, to be honest. I think a lot of it is we're, so caught up in, wow, this guy's just bursting the scene all of a sudden. But yeah, I'll admit my bias there. I'm also he's growing on me. But Bisping, I think, is a solid claim. But I'm going to pull up my notes here, and we're going to talk about why Bisping isn't on this list, but DDP is. It's kind of a little bit, it's a little recency bias and a little bit faulty logic. But ultimately, I just think DDP's better. I think his resume is better. I mean, you finish Izzy. You beat Sean Strickland at his own game, decision. He beat a guy, I think, named Robert Whitaker. Probably a different Robert Whitaker, though. I don't think he was the Reaper Whitaker. I think he was the other one. Derek Brunson and Brad Tavares, and only 8 UFC fights. That's a crazy resume considering only 8 fights into your career. Especially adds in a Hamza, a Kaio. That he's automatically top 5, no doubt. No hot takes anymore. So here's my thing with Bisping, right? Bisping barely won a 3-2 over essentially retired Dan Henderson. Meanwhile, DDP got I know it's an older, but still in phenomenal shape, Izzy, and finished him in 4 rounds. So I think the quality of your title defense says a lot. Also, another thing about Bisping's big win on his resume, another close 3-2 over Anderson Silva, where DDP's only had 1 of those, and he's openly admitted to throwing 2 rounds on purpose just to make the fight close and beat Strickland in his own game, which I think is very impressive. But he could be making that up, whatever. But I still think DDP just has looked better and it has a better resume all time than Michael Bisping. But call me crazy. I like Bisping. I think Bisping deserves more respect, but not top 5 in my opinion. Now, Chris Weidman at 4 feels kind of weird because he has 3 title defenses, which is pretty solid. But I know one of them was a freak leg injury, and he's a good fighter at the end of the day. Great wrestling, good cardio, good boxing to go with it. Solid guy. Most takedowns on it, I believe it's 43. Third in title fight wins with 4. Second longest win streak 9, and he's 10th in wins overall, so that's pretty good. But he has 7 losses. That's rough. I know I don't normally hold losses against people, but it's just hard to looking at this very objectively to be like, yeah, this guy's top 3 all time when he's lost to everybody. He's had such a weird stretch of fights. I mean, he did avenge his Uriah Hall pre-avenge, as I call it, the 1-1, and it was a weird leg break, but still, it's even 6 losses, which just feeds into my point. I mean, Weidman stuck around too long, dude. That's why he lost a lot. What was it? Losing to Rockhold, Yoel, Gegard Mousasi, then he beat Gastelum, then he lost to Jacare, and then he lost to Reyes at 205. Just a weird stretch of fights, kind of clouds his resume. Not as bad as some other resumes have been clouded, but we can get into that. You'll see, Lord willing. I think his resume is weird, but he did clip TKO, knock out a prime Anderson Silva, so that should mean something. And he does have 3 title defenses, so that's pretty good. But all of a sudden, you're 3 defenses, and then you're staring down the barrel of a 2-7 in your last 9, and that's why he's number 4. That's tricky, brother. That's tricky to be like, yeah, this guy's great all the time. It's not a prime video because we've done that. That's about longevity. But I think he's got enough longevity to just edge into that top just get into that top 4 spot. He beat Anderson Silva 2 times, I guess 1.5 because the leg break, I guess. Lyoto Machida, Vitor Belfort, Kelvin Gastelum, Damian Maia, and then Uriah Hall pre-UFC. It doesn't really count. I think the first Silva win should get a lot of credit given its context. It's basically if Dominic Reyes knocked out John Jones. It's my best comparison, I feel like. Now, For 3, Robert Whittaker, he's a legend, so I think he can get the 3 spot. He can get what he wants. Obviously, great fighter, phenomenal striking, good wrestling. I know what happened, but still good wrestling. High IQ, elite footwork. Some of the records he has, he's third in wins, fifth in significant strikes, and he holds the fourth longest win streak in middleweight with 8 wins. Now for the losses, or cons, sorry, 8 losses. None of them are avenged, and 4 of them are at welterweight. So he's really like 14-4 at middleweight, which is pretty similar to Weidman, but still pretty solid. Now the whole weird title reign, I don't want to yap too long about it, but he got ducked by Bisping. Then he got promoted to undisputed when Bisping lost the belt and GSP went because of colitis. But he never really got a title defense. I mean, he got Yoel, but Yoel missed weight by 1 pound, and I feel like they should have just given him the exception, given it's a weird circumstance where if Robert Whittaker wins, he gets the belt or the title defense, and if Yoel would have won, they should have made it vacant. Just like, isn't that what they do in boxing? Usually when you miss weight, that's what they did, right? Usually in boxing, I think it was Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, where the belt became vacant after Ryan Garcia won. But something like that, I felt like would have been better, made it on his resume. But UFC does not think about that crap in the moment. You know, Dana only thinks about the money and what the biggest thing in the now is. But I think given the context, we can give him a pass for not having 3 title defenses. I also think recency bias plays a part into this, but we can't forget how much of an animal Robert Whittaker was, man. I mean, we'll get into the resume, but Yoel Romero, twice phenomenal decisions, right? Decisions as well, which is, again, how did you survive 10 rounds with the prime Yoel? Only you know, man. And not being like Izzy. Jared Kennedy, a solid win. Uriah Hall, Martin Vittori, Paulo Costa. Jacare Sosa is a very big win. I know that was like a very good Jacare, and he came in there and beat him. He was the boogeyman. No one could stop Jacare, and Robert Whittaker's like, I got it. Kelvin Gastelum and then Brad Tavares. I know I keep bringing Brad Tavares. I think everybody's like wins should be broken up. You have like your all-time wins, like yeah, these jump off the page. You have like your middle tier wins, like these are pretty good, and you have like they're solid, and then you have like your wins that age like milk, or just like I don't even count these because they're just not like applicable. They're just cans, you know. I think Brad Tavares goes in that solid category, I would say. But anyways, now you know the rules. I don't like him because I like Anderson Silva, but he failed a drug test and it was for steroids. I know it's been for a lot, but it's steroids according to my sources. Fails a drug test, you got on number 2. Clouds your entire legacy, clouds your career. I might even put John Spoiler 205 at number 2 just because again he failed 4 drug tests. 2 of which were steroids, or 3 of which he failed 5 drug tests, 2 by the UFC, 3 by the commission, or 5 by the commission, 3 of which are steroids. Thank you, Scatterbrain over here. I know yada yada. They're all on steroids. You can have your opinion. I can have mine. That's the joy of freedom of speech and free will. So let's just not argue here. I think if you do something illegal, against the rules, no matter whether people do it or whatever, you just can't be the GOAT anymore. It just disqualifies you. You gotta get a knock or something. We can't just let it pass. You can't just get off scot-free. You can't be, in court. You get charged with stealing, but but your honor, I did all this good stuff. No, you still did the thing. That's kind of how I feel. But anyways, I do still have him high on my pound GOAT list, but I know the logic's confusing because I think pound is a different story. But because we're assuming they're all not on steroids, whatever. But sorry, higher than Izzy, but let's just get into it. I need to stop yapping. I'm a yapper right now. Anyways, Anderson Silva, great fighter, one of the best strikers ever. I know for his time, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Good grappler, pretty solid. Head movement was absurd. Skill is unmatched. Former champion with 10 title defenses. Wasn't his reign like 2,234 or 43 days, something like that? I know it's 2,200, over that. Anyways, most KO wins, longest win streak, 13 fights, third most wins, second in finishes, most title fight wins, 11. That's just absurd records. Just jump off the page right at you. And for the cons, 11 losses. I mean, he kind of avenged it, I guess, till he has 10. The Yushin Okami DQ, I guess, but it's a DQ and it's pre-UFC. He really cares. 11 losses is just tough. I know I don't really try to bring up losses because you lose fights here and there, but 11 is absurd. I know he also stuck around too long, all that stuff, but still, it's tough. He's got a weird legacy because I think the PED test and just sticking around for too long and retiring in the Apex, unfortunately. But yeah, the real con of it all, though, the strength of competition. These are some of my bad matchups or flagged fights, as I call them. Matt Hughes has a lot of them. I know I talked about the Matt Hughes video, but for Anderson Silva, you have Travis Slater, James Irvin, Patrick Cody, Tialis Leites, Nate Marquardt, and Yushin Okami again. Look at those. Look those up. Look into those. Look into the Tapology. Look into who the fighters were, and look into what happened after them. Yeah. I don't know who was fighting the best of the best all the time, but to me, he just has some wins over guys that just really weren't as good at him at any point of time at all. And it's just I don't know. Some of them aged like milk. I know the old heads defend him until they die, like they were the best at the time, yada yada. But were they though? Were they? Nate Marquardt, I can understand. That's more of like a retrospect. But like, really, was Travis Later really the best of his time? Really? Again, sorry to Travis Later, and sorry if I'm exposing myself, but I've never really heard about Travis Later, the legend, or the prime that never was. You know, all that crap. Anyways, I think Anderson Silva's whole thing, wow, he was so skilled, was also a skill discrepancy to his opponents, but he was pretty skilled, you know. I still think Anderson Silva has a great resume, man. I think this narrative that he has no all-time wins should end, in my opinion. But again, you can have your own opinion. It's all we get to yap about. Anyways, I'm gonna try not to glaze him and yap him as much as I've already have. But Dan Henderson, you know, 2 division Pride champion. Pride is very good, great resume for himself. Rich Franklin, former champion, title defenses, very good in his era. Damian Maya, maybe Chael Sonnen. I'm not too sure about that one. People say 2 times, but to me it looks like 1.5 because I mean, you know, all that stuff. I won't get into it. But Vitor Belfort, you can't argue with that one. That's a good win. And Derek Brunson somehow also pretty solid one. I know it was way past his prime, but still a pretty solid win. Oh, all right, here it is, guys. Little delay because he just checked everything. I mean, guys, it's obvious. Come on. Chael Sonnen, 49-0. Like, even my dog knows. My mom knows. My grandma knows. Chael Sonnen's the middleweight goat and the pound-for-pound greatest of all time. I mean, what can I say? 49-0, 2 division champion, 10 title defenses. Like, bro, come on. Undefeated, like never lost a round of fighting in his life. He beat the greatest middleweight of all time. He beat John Jones, who many consider the GOAT. He beat Vanderlei. He beat Shogun. He beat Rampage, Rashad, Tito, Fedor, who a lot of people consider the GOAT. I mean, like, I know those like retired and like failed PED testing stuff, and I heard his record that some people say it isn't 49-0, but like I don't really trust those numbers to be fair. So Chael, pretty obviously the greatest middleweight of all time. I mean, like, come on, guys. Like, it's obvious. Doesn't take like a Midas MMA level of experience and knowledge to reach it. Shout out Midas MMA on Instagram, by the way. You know, that doesn't take that much. Anyways, thanks for watching, and God bless. That's Canelo, my boy. I'm a big fan of Canelo, but thanks for watching. God bless. All right, for real this time. My actual number one is Izzy. Wait, did I not put a picture? Nah, that's crazy. Hold on, I'll be right back. Now, I don't like Izzy. I actually didn't even a picture on a slideshow. I like totally didn't care about a slideshow. Anyways, but I don't like Izzy, man. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. But Anderson Silva failed the test. Izzy slides up to 1. Now, because a lot of people hold the opinion that Izzy's the middleweight GOAT, in my opinion, if Anderson Silva was clean, Anderson Silva goes to number 1 for me, but these are just my rules that I've self-imposed and self-created. But Anderson Silva, if you ask me on the street, off the cuff, no prep time, no recording, I'd probably just say Anderson Silva. You know? But given the recording and the prep time, we have to look at this from more of like a journalistic perspective, do our due diligence, be unbiased, yada, 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 all that stuff. Even though I don't like Izzy, let's be fair. I don't like Izzy at all. I'm not an Izzy Glazer. I'm far from it. I've made fun of this man more times than I can count. I did comment Izzy like making fun of Poetan that one time in a comment section because some dude randomly commented Poetan in my like personal IG post for some reason. I don't know who it was. Probably because I left my personal public for a little bit. But yeah, that's the only time I've done anything remotely relating to glazing Izzy other than this video because I have to be nice to him because let's be unbiased here, remember? But wasn't I kidding about the Chael Sonnen thing though? Not gonna lie. I mean, like he is the GOAT. Obviously, he's my GOAT. Obviously, like anybody know that. But I don't know. Was I kidding or am I not? Anyways, let's talk about Izzy, the fake fraud, potentially. The fraud, the fake GOAT, potentially. But like I said, you know the rules, fail the test. Anyways, Izzy is the GOAT. People are up right now. They're going to love this video, but I don't agree with them. But here we go. I don't know why am I like edging you, leading you on? Pause. Never say that again. Never. Sorry, that was the weirdest thing I've ever said on this channel. Anyways, great fighter, phenomenal striking, good fight IQ, man. So, I mean, no recency bias, whatever, but movement's good. Solid takedown defense, considering he was basically a straight kickboxer. Former champ, 5 title defenses. His second most title fight wins with 8. Izzy obviously has 4 losses in MMA, but avenged one of them. Obviously, I don't want to delve on it too much because a certain audience will get mad. But I wanted to light heavyweight weekend. Gotta just scratch that off. You notice how I didn't bring up any of Anderson Silva's light heavyweight wins, even though they're pretty solid. Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, pretty good wins. Didn't bring them up though. I think there's one more. No, lost to DC. Anyways. The real argument for Izzy is this quality over quantity / modern perspective narrative. I think Izzy might have a better resume than Anderson Silva. Maybe a bit of a hot take. I like Anderson Silva's resume. I think it did not age poorly. I think if you look at it in the proper context, he has some pretty solid ones, as I said on the last slide. But Izzy, a lot of quality. I think, though, bias has definitely clouded our judgment in terms of both ways. A lot of people glazing Izzy, saying he's the GOAT, he's this, he's that. There's this crazy train for Izzy. And there's also some, like, Izzy was never really that good, was he? Type train. I was on that boat for a while until I really started to do this video, and my opinion kind of changed a little bit. But I think Izzy is fairly rated because there's two polar opposite groups. He ends up being somewhere in the middle in terms of perception, and I think that's where he accurately belongs. Anyways, let's get into this wild resume I've been yapping about. But big win over weight drained Alex Pereira at 185 certainly helps the resume. Robert Whitaker, maybe twice, maybe not. Could have been a different Robert Whitaker. I think it was the other one, you know. Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vittori twice, Paulo Costa, pretty solid. Yoel Romero, I know it was boring and the method wasn't great, but still counts. Kelvin Gastelum, I think it's going to draw. I think none of them won. They both suck in that fight. Anyways, Kelvin Gastelum, and then Brad Tavares, solid win. I guess there's the aging Anderson Silva, but again, here's my thing, Izzy fans. My one rule. I don't want to be prideful, but I have one very specific rule. Don't use that as your argument for why Anderson Silva isn't your middleweight GOAT and Izzy is, because it's just in such poor context and in such poor taste. You have a better argument with the quality over quality type thing, like the modern perspective, than he'd be Anderson Silva. I would say so. That's my opinion, but again, I prefer you not use that opinion, but it is your opinion at the end of the day. I think what it really comes down to, I'll say is again and again, is it's quality over quantity. For me, I think Anderson Silva has a better mix between the quality of wins and the quantity of wins. But Izzy is still pretty solid. I mean, I think, like I said, if Anderson wasn't popped, he'd be middleweight GOAT. But other than that, Izzy, you got your props from me on this channel. Not a fan of yours. You seem like a okay dude. Not a fan of yours though. But yeah. All right, this is for real now. A lot of yapping. But thanks for watching and sticking through the yapping, and God bless.